What's up, friends? Tommy with Studio Sense here. Glad that you're stopping by today because we've got a little bit of a subject that's kind of hard to describe in a way, but I do love talking about it. It is a fragrance genre. You've heard of the saying that orange is the new black. Not only is that a television show, it's also a reference towards fashion. When it comes to fashion, black is a kind of sort of hard to identify because it's based on whatever's going on. It's contextual, whatever's happening in the industry or whatever that designer's focus is in the whole evolution or context of what's being said. Fragrance is kind of sort of like that. There are actually a couple of ideas of what black is, what it means in men's fragrance, and we're going to get into that a little bit deeper with these recommendations that I'll be making today. So we've got that and some other interesting things to go over right after this. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're talking about black fragrances, and while that's not necessarily a genre in the same vein or way that blue is a genre, it definitely is a type of fragrance because there are many fragrances that you could talk about that have not only the word black in their name. Black is often very much part of the overall presentation as well as being put in the name. In fact, today I've got 10 not just examples of this, but recommendations that I would like to make to you for some fantastic, epic fragrances. There are a couple of ideas of what black is in men's fragrance. Dressing to the nines. You've heard of that phrase, the nines. But it puts you in mind of someone that's got kind of a dressed up, maybe a tuxedo, suit and tie, something that's a bit more spiffy than your average khakis and t-shirt outfit, because a lot of tuxedos, a lot of suits are black. It's a classic color, if you will always be in style. And so, in fact, a lot of men like to wear black because it's just an easy go-to. It's kind of that same way in fragrance. Not all fragrances that are in the black genre are these refined, dressed up or formal wear fragrances, but they often can be. And there's another side of the coin too. When you think of black, when it comes to the time of day, obviously you think of nighttime, black, dark. It's kind of that way with fragrance as well. It's a little bit more of a sultry, dark, seductive, sexy kind of fragrance type. In a nutshell, the black genre. And that's what we're talking about today. One of the best examples of dark, rich, luxurious, sexy, sophisticated is by Valentino. Unfortunately, it is discontinued. You can still get your hands on this, and I highly recommend trying it out. It is one of the best masculine examples of iris and leather together, iris and black leather in a fragrance, and that is Valentino Uomo Intense. Now, you can tell the difference between the Born in Roma and the original Uomo line because there's no lid. The atomizer is built into the lid, as it were, so you can just spray directly from the atomizer. Even though the bottle looks very much the same, the nameplate is metal instead of the typical leather look. But besides the minimal differences in the overall presentation, guys, they completely changed the direction of the fragrance. Many people were disappointed they didn't follow in line with the original Uomo Intense direction, which is, again, this is a very lipsticky kind of iris. If you like Dior Homme, you'll love this fragrance because many people say it smells very similar to Dior Homme, and it does. The difference is when this dries down, what you're getting more of is that rich, dark, black leather note that is the primary focus of this fragrance, besides the iris, of course. Fantastic example of a fragrance that can not only be worn in a more kind of dressed up situation or environment, but it can be worn every day regardless of the situation. Fantastic signature scent. Discontinued, still available. If you don't have Valentino Uomo Intense in your rotation and you love leather fragrances, leather iris fragrances, or combination leather fragrances, you've got to try this at least. Another great example was one that was created by my good friend Ash of Jensen's in conjunction with Michael Malul is Jet Black Enigma. Fantastic example of a fragrance that uses multiple notes for a singular purpose. It is seductive, sophisticated, lightly powdery, dry, elegant. What a heady, intoxicating mix of notes like ginger, cardamom, cinnamon bark. There's darker, richer notes. In fact, that's one thing I did want to mention too about, of course, talking in reference to Jet Black Enigma, but most of the fragrances we're talking about today, and any within the realm of the black genre of fragrances, the neat thing about them is they also will include usually in the heart or in the base, some darker form to kind of reemphasize the fact that the black is the focus, such as like a Somalian incense, some other type of exotic incense or oud or something like that that's a bit heavier, a bit richer, denser, more powerfully performing than just your typical amber or ambroxan-based fragrance. It does use to good effect quite a bit of vetiver, labdanum, there's cypriol. I think there's even a little bit of oud, as I mentioned earlier, in this kind of ebullient swarm of notes together, again, to create a singular purpose. One of the more sophisticated black fragrances that a lot of people, I think, need to try. If you haven't tried this out, definitely give it a shot. Fantastic example of what a black fragrance can do as an everyday wear fragrance. Another great example of a fragrance that's sophisticated, elegant, and sexy in the black genre is one by Alfred Dunhill in the Desire line, and this one is super accessible. It's, of course, Desire Black, kind of like the whiskey flask. You flip the lid open and you're good to go. This one has kind of a matte finish, which is a bit of and the presentation will often be kind of a nod towards what you're getting in the fragrance itself in many cases, and that's the case with Desire Black. While it does open with a kind of a light bergamot, black pepper, grapefruit, petitgrain, it goes from fruity, bright, fantastic open into a darker, richer, incense type of base. You know, it's interesting, I use the word contextual. It's just off the top of my head when I think of the fragrance, you know, the black genre of fragrance, because it is something that almost like mood music. You know, when you have to be in a certain type of mood to listen to a certain type of music, well, black is kind of the opposite. When you wear this fragrance, it kind of fits whatever the mood is, you know, whatever the environment, whatever the situation, it's somehow, and I think it's built into the frame of reference for the black genre of fragrance, it somehow seems to fit really, really well. And Desire Black is another good example of that. The basic word that I'm going for there in that overtly long explanation is versatile. It's a very versatile, one of the more versatile type fragrances. In fact, a lot of people mistakenly think blue is the most versatile type of everyday wear fragrance. That's not really the case. It's actually the black genre of fragrances. And so I think it is one that needs more attention in terms of when you're thinking of something, a quick grab to wear, don't always think of your blues. Think of the darker fragrances. They can cover a much more wider variety of situations than one might think. Another great example of that from the car manufacturer, actually Bentley, is Bentley for Men, the Black Edition, an underutilized, fantastic offering of a fragrance. The first time I smelled it, it immediately put me in mind of the interior leather of a classic vehicle. Now, while there's no particular leather note in this is one of those fragrances that uses kind of the culmination of multiple notes for that specific kind of overall olfactive experience. So it does have kind of a leather-esque overall aroma to it. Using notes like violet, nutmeg, tangerine, a combination of papyrus and jasmine in here. So some floral notes in there, and violet often can be used to arrive at the leather type of aroma. There's also a bit of musk, tonka bean, and frankincense in the base, just like all of these black fragrances. And that's one thing I love about the black genre. You get to enjoy those darker, richer notes, often through the top to mid to base, to finally arrive at the conclusion, we'll say, of a fragrance of where it actually stays the longest. You know where you're headed, you know what you're getting. And it's that bit of refinement and elegance in this fragrance that really makes it a great everyday wear fragrance. Bentley for Men Black Edition. Another great example of an everyday wear versatile fragrance in the black genre of fragrances is Carolina Herrera's 212 line. It's the 212 VIP Black. And what I really like about this, because I'm all about the kind of herbal botanical absinthe, the side of absinthe, the whole kind of rich, not medicinal herbal, but almost like licorice type note, which is from aniseed. And aniseed is an absinthe, so you get the whole picture. So a combination of absinthe and leather in the base of this is really what you get mostly in this fragrance, the dry down, but it has that same dry, elegant feel that all of these have, that all of these share in common, and it performs extremely well. Try this one out if you haven't. Every fragrance site that has a rating system agrees that Lalique White in Black is an epic scent. And again, another great example of what the kind of black fragrance genre is loosely. Fantastic, cool weather fragrance. One of the absolute best. In terms of price, you can't beat it. In terms of aroma, it's very similar to fragrances like Spice Bomb. Again, more examples of resin-based fragrances. You don't have to have a huge budget to create a fantastic fragrance, black fragrance, or to create a fantastic fragrance in the black genre of fragrances. And this Lalique White and Black is an epic example of that. If you haven't tried any in this list, this is definitely one that I think should be at the top of your must try / must buy, because it's like less than 50 bucks. Very well worth owning. At the beginning of this video, I talked about how certain fragrances have that kind of refined feel to them. Fragrances in the black genre, if you want to call it a genre or category or subcategory. And one of the best examples of that kind of suit and tie, overt sensation in an aroma is in Prada Luna Rossa Black. It's a relatively simple formula when it comes to the notes. There's a combination of angelica and bergamot. The heart has a coumarin patchouli combo, and the base is just a nice resinous warm amber. What you get when you spray this on is a very masculine, one of the more masculine powdery kind of fragrances. It's not a fragrance that everyone loves, but the people that wear it don't just like it, they love it. It's a fantastic example of the refinement in the black category of black fragrances. Prada Luna Rossa Black. The next example of a fantastic fragrance in the black category of fragrances or subcategory or genre, again, however you want to look at it or distinguish it. This one is one that I don't wear often enough. As I'm wearing it today, I'm really enjoying smelling it on myself. It's by Gucci in the Gucci Guilty line of fragrances, and it's, of course, Gucci Guilty Black. Gucci Guilty Black Pour Homme is an underappreciated gem of a fragrance. Lucky for us, that's the fact, because it has dropped the price quite a bit. So if you do want to own this, you're not going to be spending a lot of money, but you're going to be getting a gem. A lot of fragrances will use the combination of neroli and orange blossom to kind of give it this overall warm, lightly botanical, orangish tonal quality, and that's exactly what's happening in at least the mid of Gucci Guilty Black, but that's not the only definition. It goes lots of places. There's a great use of violet and coriander in this fragrance. It's got a little bit of spiciness on the top. Once that dries down, what you're really getting is a softish leather. I would call it a spicy, woody leather fragrance. Basically, cedar patchouli and a light leather in the base is the territory that you're traversing when you're wearing Gucci Guilty Black. The performance is in line with any of the fragrances in the Gucci Guilty line. Great performance, but again, a bit more versatile than most any of the line. Even as it's a leather fragrance, it's a very soft, more crowd-pleasing type of leather. Our next dark, mysterious, sexy, sultry, there's a ton of adjectives you could use to describe the black genre or subcategory of fragrances, is one from yet another car manufacturer, and this one is known to do right by several really quality offerings, and it is Mercedes-Benz. Of course, the fragrance I'm referring to is the now discontinued Mercedes-Benz Club Black. What a fantastic fragrance. In the fragrance community, it's well known as the vanilla bomb because it is such a vanilla-forward fragrance. Of course, that's not all that you're getting, but the leanings of this one is all towards the dark, the mysterious, the sultry, the sexy and seductive. And that is also why it's very well known as a date night fragrance. This is one of the best date night fragrances that you could wear if you like vanilla. This is one of those that I guess you could call it a gourmand fragrance, since vanilla is kind of a foodie note. It's not really categorized as a gourmand fragrance, just an aromatic, woody, lightly sweet, vanillic fragrance. There's really not a ton that can be said about this fragrance. I mean, I guess you could talk about any fragrance forever, but this one ticks off all the boxes of what guys like in fragrance. A very powerful performing fragrance, very strong, aromatic, it's voluminous, it fills a room when you wear this, and it's very inexpensive. Even as it's been discontinued for a while, there is still apparently quite a few of these available because most discounters still have them. That's not to say they'll always be there, so if you're at all interested in checking this one out, it's very well worth owning. I would just grab up a bottle because it's one of those cold weather fragrances where vanilla is its main focus and you can wear it on a number of occasions, but most especially the date night. The last example of black fragrance genre or category of fragrances kind of describes the versatility of a fragrance, especially in cool weather, is one by Bulgari. And of course, it's Bulgari Man in Black Parfum. Whether it's the original or the Parfum, doesn't matter. I just happen to use this a bit more because it's a bit newer and I like the performance a bit better than the original. But overall, what you're getting is just a fantastic, spicy tobacco fragrance, in essence. This doesn't quite have the rum, the boozy that the original does, but I like what it's doing with the tobacco notes and some of the other darker resinous notes. What a masculine fragrance. Whenever I wear this fragrance, my wife always has a remark that I smell like someone more mature, along the lines of, say, like, who's that writer who wrote The Old Man and the Sea? I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. What's his name, honey?
Hemingway?
Yes, this is what Hemingway would wear. At least when I wear it, that's what I think. This is a fragrance Hemingway could get behind. And so that kind of gives you an idea of not necessarily the machismo, but it is a very masculine fragrance. Super versatile when it comes to cool weather. It has that refinement, but you can also kick back and relax in it as a casual wear, everyday wear fragrance in cooler weather. And there you have it, guys, 10 fragrances that will actually cover all your needs. That's another good example of how versatile black fragrances are, or the black genre or category, or however you want to, whatever nomenclature you want to use to describe fragrances that are black in presentation. And black is back. Black is never gone. It's never gone anywhere. It's always there. It's always classic, always relevant, always there and ready for you to use. And again, in this reviewer's estimation, the most versatile of the fragrance genre or categories. But let me know what your favorites are, guys, not just in this list. If I've missed some that are fantastic and super versatile that you really enjoy wearing, let everyone know in the comments down below. But I do appreciate you tuning in to today's video. I really enjoyed doing it. I hope you enjoyed watching it and listening to it. If you're just listening in your car or on your bike or whatever, I really, truly appreciate your continued support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video review.